build logs showed using Amazon Web Services access key, AKIA, even with withCredentials. A custom Groovy function concatenated the secret into a log string, bypassing the mask. Let's break down Jenkins Scripted Pipeline and Groovy, how it works, and the exact mistake behind that failure. Jenkins Scripted Pipeline is a domain-specific language built on Groovy that defines CI/CD workflows as code. Unlike declarative pipeline, which enforces a strict structure, Scripted Pipeline gives you full programmatic control. Loops, conditionals, functions, and even custom classes. Scripted Pipeline is defined in a Jenkins file using Groovy syntax. The pipeline is enclosed in a node block, which allocates an executor and workspace. Inside, you define stages with stage blocks and steps with various DSL methods. In Scripted Pipeline, uncaught exceptions cause the build to fail. Use try-catch-finally blocks to handle errors gracefully. For transient failures, implement retry logic with retry step. Never hardcode secrets in Jenkins file. Use Jenkins Credentials binding plugin to inject credentials as environment variables or via withCredentials step. This ensures secrets are masked in logs. Scripted Pipeline supports parallel execution with the parallel step. However, each branch runs in a separate thread and requires an executor. To avoid executor starvation, use lock resource to limit concurrency. Checkpoints allow resuming a pipeline from a saved state after a failure. Use checkpoint step after a successful stage. When a pipeline fails later, you can restart from that checkpoint. Use input step to pause pipeline for manual approval. Always set a timeout to prevent indefinite hangs. Without timeout, a pipeline could wait forever if approver is on vacation. Avoid duplicating pipeline code across repos. Use shared libraries to define reusable functions and classes. Create a Git repo with vars and src directories. In Jenkins file, use @library mylib to import. The article mentions retry for transient failures, but doesn't show exponential backoff. Use a loop with sleep to avoid hammering a recovering service. The article states checkpoints are not available in pipeline multi-branch. In Jenkins 2.44+, checkpoints are supported in multi-branch pipeline, but require the checkpoint step to be used inside a node block and the resume from checkpoint option enabled in job configuration. The article advises versioning shared libraries, but doesn't show how to pin a version. Use a Git tag or branch in the @library annotation to ensure reproducibility. Jenkins Pipeline provides two powerful debugging tools, Replay and Pipeline Steps View. Replay allows you to modify and rerun a pipeline without committing changes. Pipeline Steps View shows each step's duration and logs. Use env to access and set environment variables. However, env is a global object, so changes affect all stages. Use with env for temporary overrides. Scripted Pipeline can call external APIs via HTTP request, plugin, or Groovy's HTTP client. For Docker, use Docker pipeline steps. For Kubernetes, use Kubernetes plugin. Always handle API failures with retry logic. Test your Jenkins file locally using Jenkins Pipeline Unit Framework. Write unit tests for shared library functions. For integration testing, use a test Jenkins instance with realistic jobs. Scripted Pipeline can be slow if not optimized. Avoid heavy Groovy computations inside the pipeline. Use sh steps for shell commands instead of Groovy for file operations. This is the same issue we highlighted at the start. Here's exactly why that happened. The team assumed withCredentials, properly masked all usage of credentials. However, a custom Groovy function concatenated the secret into a string for logging without using the safe version, bypassing the masking. A custom Groovy function concatenated the secret into a string for logging without using the safe version, exposing the secret in plain text. The fix was to replace all string concatenation with the secret variable with parameterized logging. We added a credential scanning step, e.g., trufflehog, to detect leaks. Also, we enabled the mask passwords plugin and log scrubbing. Setting env as a local variable shadows the global env object, causing unexpected behavior like losing access to env, build number. Rename the local variable to avoid this. A common mistake is catching exceptions without rethrowing or setting the build result. This causes builds to show as successful even when a stage fails. Always rethrow or set current build result after catching. If you forget to set a timeout on an input step, the pipeline can hang indefinitely if the approver is unavailable. Always add a timeout, e.g., timeout 3600. To diagnose issues, use replay to modify and rerun a pipeline without committing. Check the pipeline steps view for step durations and logs. Add temporary echo statements for debugging, but remove them later. Let's run through some common interview questions. Difference between scripted and declarative. Scripted offers full programmatic control, declarative has a strict structure. How to handle credentials securely. Use withCredentials step to inject secrets as environment variables. How to debug a hanging pipeline. Check logs, use replay, inspect pipeline steps view. And a few frequently asked questions. Can I mix scripted and declarative? Yes, but not recommended. Stick to one style. How to access build number? Use env build number or current build number. How to abort a pipeline? Use error step or throw new exception. To wrap up, remember these key takeaways. Always use try-catch finally for error handling. Manage credentials securely with withCredentials. Limit parallelism with lock to avoid executor starvation. And test your pipeline code with Jenkins Pipeline Unit. Ready to go deeper? Up next, Jenkins pipeline stages and parallel execution, then Jenkins shared libraries, then Jenkins multi-branch pipeline. Find them all at TheCodeForge.io. Thanks for watching. The full article and code examples are covered in detail at TheCodeForge.io.